fun and I won't do it. It just turned out to be a great thing. And actually, Andrea was the one that found it.
Thank you, Andrea.
I pushed him.
It shows you how much that, the whole congregation working together,
Amen.
the body of Christ, influences the ministry, because one man can't do it,
That's right.
but I thank the Lord for that.
Amen.
And we are planning another one in the future, don't forget, a 5-week series on Hillsong on worship.
Oh.
And it's going to be really good. It's going to be books and tape, CDs, and different things. Because, this is what I mentioned. This is what I mentioned at the pastor's meetings today. And I wrote a piece. I didn't think it came out as well, but it was. I wrote a piece in Facebook. And the title basically was, "Can a born-again Christian at one time become godless?" Can a person, a believer that's godly, when you're saved, the day they're born, can become eventually godless? And the whole idea is that, and I found so much scripture that backs it up, and it's very sad, but the point is, we're not going to become godless. Amen. And so that person or church or denomination that's fallen away had lost their faith. The Bible said they're becoming great falling away. And so the idea is this, that if a Christian, a believer, you and me or anybody else, starts out believing in the Lord, you get born again, whatever, that we then fail to move ahead, and the Bible says God has no delight in anyone that turns around and goes backward.
Right.
And so what a church has to do is they have to continually grow in spirit. Paul prayed that we would get a revelation of the Lord Jesus Christ, that we might grow in the knowledge in the grace and understanding of the Lord Jesus Christ. So we have to grow. Well, worship is part of it. And I am I don't know what you'd call me, but I'm a literalist, maybe? Is that what you might say? I take the Bible literally.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
I just can't help it because I believe it.
Oh, yeah.
And when it says, that we can do this, that, the other thing, I say, don't do it.
Right.
But tradition and religion says, no. We don't do that here. And that's why churches die. They even look, Jesus wrote 7 letters to the churches in Asia. And he had something about each one of them that he was not happy with them because of this, that, or the other thing. So every church needs to get in the Word, follow the Word, do what the Word says, and be pleasing to the Lord. And then you have Holy Spirit. When the Spirit of the Lord is present, God begins to do things in people's life. They get saved, they get delivered, set free, demons come out. They get filled with the gifts of the Spirit. And God is evident and present. Now the rest of the world is going to look at you like you're a bunch of nuts. You're crazy, you're fanatics, stay away from those people. And that's what they said about Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
But, and if you're afraid of that or offended by all of that happening in the church or your life, then you'll have to, just go the other way. But I'm one, I want to dive in with both feet.
Amen.
I can't swim though, but I can dive. What happens after that is no work business. I'll get filled with the water. So. But I want you to turn to the book of Psalms. I felt led to read this tonight because at the culmination of particular teaching that we're going through. I'm praying that we will come to a place that we can release. Now tonight, the key word I felt the Lord put in my heart is release. And if you can't release, if we can't do that, then we're going to hang on. And I personally know people that won't release. They will not release. This belongs to me. I deserve it. They did something bad. This happened in my life. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to stay the way I am. Well, you get miserable. I know people that come to church that are just miserable people. And I'm going, what? What's wrong with you? Don't you know you can be free? I like being free. How about you?
Amen.
I love being free. The freer, the better.
That's right.
And so, this particular Psalm, chapter 139, speaks to you and me. If anything, in these 4 weeks, I personally want to know, and I want everyone to know, that you are something very, very special to the Lord.
Amen.
And that we can't waste our lives on frivolous little foxes that spoil the vine.
Yes, there you go.
That you still, at this time in your life, at this time in my life, I have more excitement now than I did when I first got saved. I have more encouragement and for the future than I ever did. Because I see where we're at, I see what's happening, and God's sustaining. So, chapter 139, beginning at verse 1. O Lord, thou hast searched me, and you know me. Thou knowest my downsitting, my uprising, when I go to bed, when I get up. Thou understandest my thoughts far off. You know my thoughts. Thou compassest my path, and my lying down, and art acquainted with all of my ways.
Yes.
God knows all of our ways, every one of us. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, Lord, thou knowest it all. We can't say anything in private or quiet, that God doesn't hear, know, and understand. And that's why I've done some repenting. Now I'm very careful how I speak about anybody, even politicians that aren't politicians.
Yeah.
Which I won't mention. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thine hand upon me. You're behind me, you're before me, your hand is on me. And when we realize how important we are to everyone around us, it's, to me, it's like a person that has a cure for cancer but keeps it at home and won't share it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a lifeboat that won't let anybody in.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. I get to thinking about nature, God's creation, and I just go, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's all I can say. You're too wonderful for me. And it is high. I cannot attain them. Although we want to get more spiritual knowledge of the Lord, closer to Him, but we're always going to be doing that. Always. Whether shall I go from thy spirit, I can't run from your spirit, or whether shall I flee from thy presence? There's nowhere you can go. Get on a plane and fly around the world. You can't get away from God. He will arrest you. I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness as the light are both like a light to thee. So it doesn't matter, day or night, God sees everything. For thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. My substance was not hid from thee, when I was made in secret, and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did see my substance, yea, yet being unperfect, and in thy book are all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. So everything is a blueprint.
Yes.
You are a blueprint. God has a blueprint when He created you and me. I don't like my legs. I don't see that. I don't like my nose. No, don't worry about that. I don't like when I used to have hair. No, don't worry about that either.
Right.
Look, God's got, He didn't make movie stars. He made children of God. Some that are looking the others, but not in His eyes, according to the world maybe. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me. O God, how great is the sum of them. If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. Wow. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against the wickedly, and thine enemies take thy throne, thy name in vain. So when somebody takes God's name in vain, that's an enemy. You can't do it by the Holy Spirit. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee, and am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them as enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. That's what I pray constantly. And see if there be any wicked way, and lead me in the way everlasting. Pray. So you see, you are perfect in God's eyes. You are the righteousness of God. You are important. Everything you say and everything you do. Don't ever feel like God's done with you. He's not done with you. You can be a blessing to the last breath that you take.
Yes.
If we desire to be. So don't give up and don't retire. At one time I thought I was going to retire. I'm not going to retire. I'm just not going to. I'm going to go as long as these old legs can hold me up. And Charles Stanley sat down now.
I know, I saw that.
If he sat down, I'd sit down.
He's got it. That's what's cool.
Oh, that guy can't stop. You got to put a cork in.
I love it.
I'm telling you, he's a
Give me a chair.
he's a preaching motor.
And he is. I love it.
Amazing. Now, the other scripture I want you to see, because this one here really got to in John chapter 15. Speaking of the vine, and I hadn't really honestly thought about this much in the last 4 years. Preached a lot. I never really did on this that much. And then on Good Friday, I heard Andy Shaver from New Life Church speak on it, and it really did. In chapter 15, verse 1. But I am the true vine, and my Father is the husband. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, now listen carefully, we have an opportunity from this day forward, in this life, to bear fruit. To bear fruit. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. Now he said, every branch in me. And that's why I said, is it possible for someone to become godless after they've known the Lord? Well, there's all kinds of scripture. Here's one. We don't bear fruit. In every branch that bears fruit, he purges it that it may bring forth more fruit. So if you feel like you're being trimmed or pruned, going through a wilderness experience? Good. Remember that. It's good for you. That's where we learn. That's where we grow. That's where we find out how great our God is.
Amen.
When we're up against the wall, up against the Red Sea, and the enemy's after us, and bad things are happening, we fall on our face and we call on God. So there's purging and there's pruning in our lives. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. So here's the root that goes down and gets the water and supplies the branches, and the vine supplies the branches, and then the branches supply the fruit. But once this is cut off in our daily walk, in our daily busyness, in our jobs, in our cares, the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches. I know someone who's a relative of mine, work, make money, that's all they do. I mean, that's his life. Work, Sunday, yeah. Work Saturday, yeah. Work, just get more and more. But then one day his heart came in a little bit of trouble. And all that money and all those things that he buys, cash, he buys them cash because he's got so much money. But he's cut off. He has no flow from the Holy Spirit. He has no flow from the Father. There's no connection, no prayer, no time, no worship, no laying before the Lord and waiting on God, believing in Him for the future, for his kids, his grandkids. He doesn't have that, you see. And a Christian can do the same thing. A believer can do the same thing. And as I watch other churches that have died and now are ordaining homosexuals, supporting abortion, boycotting Israel, as far as I'm concerned, they died. They're dead. They attend every Sunday, and they all come and sit down and listen to a little sermon. Usually it's 5 minutes long, you know. They would throw rocks at me. I know they would. Because 5 minutes, that's a hello. Amen. That's a hello. Well, some people don't come because you preach too long. Well, I don't know what they're doing after you got out of church. Whatever it is must be more important. You know? Anyway, so without that supply, these go away. And the leaves are withered. And then when people see you come to church, it's like this. I ain't preaching too long today again. Did he say that last Sunday? Yeah, I'm going to say it till you get it. Amen. God told me to say it, and I'm going to say it. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I don't want to offend you, but that's your problem, not mine. I didn't write the thing. But what happens is there's no fruit. And so, this is what I'm trying to say. I've been pastoring this church for 22 years. And I want to see more fruit.
Amen.
And God wants to see more fruit. Okay? And I know it's possible. I know it's possible to see more fruit. And what is the fruit? The fruit, eventually, I mean, you can draw a match with fruit. Right? You can draw flies, you can draw all kinds of things. Honeybees, or whatever. But the true fruit of the Holy Spirit, you draw people. You draw souls. You draw children. And I'm believing right now for a bus. I know we had buses before, but we're going to have another bus. And I'm going to be able to pick people up on that bus. And if you don't like it, sorry about you. I believe that we need to get some people. And that if we will go out and reach out, that we will have souls. And I'm not wanting to fill pews I want somebody to know Jesus. And if they don't come, they won't know Jesus. Not only can they come here, but they can come out there. In our homes, we can visit, we can talk, we can witness, we can learn the Romans Road, and we can tell people about Jesus. And souls will be saved and won't go to hell for eternity. You see?
Amen.
But that takes, once we get in the presence of the Lord, we start bearing fruit. We can't help it, because God is our supply. Amen? And so, the main thing is, and here's what Jesus said, as I'll close with this. Because this is in red, that means it's serious. Amen. Alright? I am the vine, ye are the branches, he that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. Our church has to be pregnant.
Yes.
And I'm not talking just lip service pregnant. I'm talking about pregnant. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. Pastor Kelly said something the other day. She said, I won't wait anymore. Someone says, pray for me. I pray for them.
Yes, amen.
Because I'll end up going home for you.
Amen.
I'll pray for you. What was that? Who was that I was talking to? You will ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. That's the Heavenly Father speaking. Herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit. So shall you be my disciples. Now, we can't bear fruit if we got all these little foxes eating the vines. They're eating the fruit. And they're eating the vines up. You know, it's just natural. Here they are. They're here for the taking. But the little foxes are the cares of this world and deceitfulness of riches. And I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And I want this, and I want that, and I want a couple of those, and I want that, and I'm going that way to get that. And yet the Bible tells me very clearly, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all of these things shall be added unto you.
Amen.
You know what Abraham did to get rich? I mean, he was filthy rich. He was very rich. Read your Bible. You know what he did? Anybody? Made sacrifice. That's what he did. He made sacrifice. Every time he stopped, he made sacrifice to the Lord. He had to take something that he had and do it the way God said. It had to be without spot, blemish, or wrinkle. And then he would give a sacrifice, and he was an habitual worshiper.
Amen.
And God made him very rich. Well, I'll tell you what, I got a job in the morning, I got a job in the afternoon, I got a job at night, and I'm thinking about getting another job, and you fall in bed at night trying to get rich. But the Bible doesn't say that. If you want to do it the worldly way, go ahead, you can. And you just pay more taxes. But if you want to do it God's way, then He will provide when we're about His business. That's why I know it's redundant, because it's true. That's why I tell everybody, when I go make the deposit, I don't look at it. Well, why don't you? I don't want to see it. It's not my business. Now, we do have a board meeting, we get a readout, and I always praise God. Well, we got $20 in the fund. Yeah! Hallelujah! Thank you, Jesus, for $20. We're still in the game. Or we got 16,000. Hallelujah!
Yes, hallelujah.
Yeah! It's coming. God's not going to fail us. Amen. And so it's not about what we can do, it's about what He can do.
Yes.
And some people in the church are so busy, even busy in the Lord. Too busy. I'll do your job. I'll do your job. I'll do your job. I'll do your job. And I can do your job. We don't want you to. No, thank you. No, I want everyone to have their own. Do your own and be faithful about it and be consistent about it, and don't miss Sundays and Wednesdays and Fridays or whatever the case is. Don't pop out because, the bird flew someday, and you just don't feel like coming, and I got a little bit of a cold,
Amen.
but you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
So it's a transforming thing that has to happen, and it's going to begin tonight. Amen? So I'm going to push you.
Thank you, Jesus.
I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you.
We need to be pushed.
Well, all the pastors today talked about churches, and one pastor was having a problem with one lady in the church. He's a new pastor for the church. And some lady came up and said, that message just did not resonate. I said, well, we need to get a new resume. It's out of Walmart. And it bothers me. It bothers me. You know. And of course, we were all here. Because there's like 3 or 4 pastors brand new. We were all tempted with them. And they were telling about, their congregations and what blah, blah. And I said, I like to provoke mine.
Amen.
On the good works.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
Provoke them on the good works.
Amen. Come on, Robert.
Yeah. And they all looked at me like, what? He said, yeah, that woman, she realized. He said, we got 100 coming. And I said, oh, well, 1 out of 100 ain't bad. Are you kidding? What are you worried about? I said, if she didn't do that, I'd wonder about you. I said, the devil's got to use somebody to buck you up.
Right.
Amen.
Please do. Can we pray for him? And he'll learn. After so many years, I said, I don't even care anymore.
Nope.
I don't care if you like it or not. Do I love you? Yes.
Amen.
Do I care if you like it?
No. Amen.
Just go
It's the
home
word
and
of
tell,
God. Cry about it.
happy
Cry
for
to
dinner.
Jesus. Cry to Jesus about that.
Yeah, don't worry about
Cry
it.
to Jesus. He'll take care of you.
So I'm gonna keep provoking and keep pushing and preaching until this place is full of souls. And then we go to the second service because people are gonna come in and want Jesus.
Amen.
And the more the churches do nothing but serve popcorn and have all the amenities of the Word of God is what's going to save people.
Amen.
You gotta have it. You gotta have the Word. The Word transforms life. And that's what this is about this week, this last 4 weeks. Transforming.
It's going to transform you. Trust me.
A release of everything that's holding us back. Why don't we have any? Not mine. There's not a person here that hasn't been hurt
Amen.
one way or the other.
Amen.
It just comes with life.
Yeah.
And many times, I had no confidence in myself, self-esteem, and I felt like I was just out of place. No education. I was on the street corner spitting. I hippie, a rock and roll band, thrown in jail, blah, blah, blah. I had nothing. I had a dime in my pocket when I got married. 1 dime. I had nothing. And then Jesus got hold.
Amen.
You see, he's my confidence.
Yes.
Not my dad telling me I love you because he never did. Not my mom. See, they grew up in a different age. There was no hugging. There was no hugging, no kissing. Mom or dad in our family. Especially my dad. He was a big tough guy. And so I didn't have any of that. And that held me back for the longest time. Until I had to release that. You see. And when I saw the Word, and the Word said that I was accepted in the beloved. I'm accepted. I said, wow. I mean, every time I use my credit card or my debit card and it says, you've been approved, I get excited. And I tell the woman at Walmart, I've been approved. Look at me like, what? All she hears is beep, beep, beep all day long. But I'm excited. You know how it feels when it says, no funds available.
Yeah.
What? I got $800 in there. It's so embarrassing.
It is.
So all in all, we have to bear fruit. And you know what? You come in every Sunday and there's no fruit. Something's wrong. You know, hey, who's that? Neighbor. Oh, you brought some fruit, did you? Yep. I've been witnessing to it. Matter of fact, Pastor, you don't even have to give an altar call. I let him to the Lord myself. You don't have to drag them or bribe them or anything. Hey, they're coming to church all because. And now, I was so excited. Sunday. First of all, last couple Sundays ago, 5 people got baptized. Oh, yeah. And then, when Keith come up, it was so pretty, so beautiful. All I said was, you come up here, you want something from God? You want me to fill with the Holy Spirit? There. Boom. You got filled with the Holy Spirit, start speaking in tongues. Right now. Right now. It's amazing. What's amazing? God was there. I can't make that out of nobody. That's not me. That's God. The Holy Spirit was there waiting all the time. He's waiting to fill us with His presence. We hold Him back, then there's no fruit. Well, I'm not sure about this baptism stuff. Well, talk to God about it because it's in the Bible and He promised it. It's a promise from the Father. Not me. Amen? Amen. You believe it and accepted it. So I'm seeing the hand of God, and it's got me all excited again. So we're going to continue to just have revival.
Yes.
We're going to pray for revival. We're getting it.
Amen.
But we have to feed it. You cannot, I cannot go home and ignore it all week long and come back and expect the fruit to be there. I want more fruit. And we're going to get a bus, and we're going to grow, and we're going to go out, we're going to sing the gospel in Potterville, and there's other things that we're going to be doing, and we're going to send animals to Africa so they can have animals, goats and chickens and whatever the case may be. I'm telling you, we're not going to be stingy. We're going to walk by faith. We're going to give wherever it needs to be given, but you have to give by faith. I'll tell you one story now. Bishop tells me about and I can bear witness to this with all my heart. He told us about T.L. Osborne. I don't know if you know who that is. You'd have to be a little older, maybe, to know him. But what a wonderful man. Wonderful love poured out of him like Daisy. And he saw many miracles. Went to India and led millions to the Lord. It was amazing. And Bishop was the one that held the crusade for him and a bunch of others. And so Bishop was supposed to take the offering. Some of you might have heard this story. And so he gets up there and he's telling everybody, we're going to take an offering, blah, 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 and God spoke. He had $6,000 in his treasury. God said, write a check out to TL for $6,000. Oh. So I'm telling everybody to give money, but now God wants me to. You know, the ones that complain most about money are the ones that don't get much.
That's right.
I've seen that in many churches.
Oh, yes.
Judas was that way.
Sure was.
You could have used that and sold it and given it. You hypocrite. You're a liar. You're a thief. So, he said, oh, this can't be God. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. All of a sudden, again, give $6,000. Give that to him. Next thing he said was, he don't need it. Why should I give it to him? He's got everything. I'm in Africa. And God just kept on him. So he took a checkbook and he wrote it out and he scribbled it so bad that he prayed that the bank wouldn't understand. He said he made the circles just crazy. He said supernaturally God must have changed them and so the bank understood it. So he came back. And he came back to his office, and his treasurer was there, the guy that takes care of the account. And he says, I just wrote 3 checks to pay some bills. And he said, you did? He said, there's no money there. He said, God told me to get a check, and the guy got mad at me and quit. He said, I knew you were crazy. I had a treasurer like that one time in Ludington, and he quit on me. He said, I can't handle this. I can't handle this working like things up. I said, brother, I'm telling you, God's going to supply. He's going to do it. No, I can't. But he quit on me. Just resigned. I said, man. I said, I'm telling you, God's going to meet our need. He's looking at the books, and we had a school up there. Had 50 students, had a whole school. And so he quit. The next Sunday, all of a sudden, we found diamond rings in our offering plate. People were giving jewelry. I didn't ask for it. Jewelry, money, checks. $5,000 showed up.
Amen.
Amen.
God's good.
I called him up. I said, hey, brother, God met the need, man. He said, what? I said, we got $5,000. She said, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
And so Bishop wrote the check out. It went through. And, of course, he lost his account. You're crazy. But then he came back over here, and he was at G. Gordon Foods. And they had a jar. And they were giving money for food for people, the hungry. So the Lord, he walked by, and the Lord said, put $100 in there. So he took the $100 out, and he pulled it back out. Then he started to put it back in, he turned it back out. Then he started to walk away, and the Lord said, put it in. He's going to put the $100 out. Anyway, he went back and forth, and he finally put it in, and he got mad. This time he's mad. He's angry with God. And that's not the first time God wasn't angry with God. So he went out, and he got in his car, and he sat there, and he said, I'm just stupid, because I just lost $100. And somebody knocked on the window. And he looked at me, he said, I wanted to say, leave me alone, get out of here. He rolled down the window, and the guy said, were you just in there? I said, yeah. Are you the one that took $100 in there? He said, yeah. He said, well, I'm the vice president of Gordon Foods. And he said, could you go have lunch with me? Chinese? He said, I knew it was some guy. So, oh yeah. He's so human. And so they went set. He said, I went to the buffet 3 times. Finally, I sat down, and the guy said, that's not really why I sent you or brought you here. I said, but we have been saving up money to give to a mission. Now, I want you to listen. This is God. And if we can't believe in God, and we can't trust God for miracles, then something's wrong with our faith.
Yes.
We're living godless.
Yes, we are.
We need to live godly.
Yes.
Amen? And so, he said, we have saved up $75,000.
Wow.
And we want to give it to you. He said, I figured $100, $75,000. It's worth it. Amen? Now, I can tell you stories that God did for me, churches that I pastored, whatever, and how that God met the need. But it's when we walk out on faith. Faith, not fear, but faith.
Amen.
And we give, knowing He's going to give back and blessing us. That's a godly life. But because without faith, it's impossible. No pleasing God at all when we do something without faith. And God wants to meet our needs. This book here was not written so we can just decide whether we like it or not. This is the Word of God.
It's the truth.
I mean, this will go forever. We'll be judged by it.
Yes, we will.
And I don't want to. I don't want, and I refuse to pastor if I can't preach this Word the whole thing. Not because I'm something, because believe me, I'm nothing I started as nothing, but he made me something when he gave me this responsibility. So I want you to see tonight how important that you are in the kingdom of God. You're so important. Don't ever feel like you're nothing. I only have a little to give, Pastor. But I'm not asking for your money. I'm just saying give whatever. Whatever we give, it's going to come back. Amen? And God's going to bless you. People don't understand when they see a big smile on your face and you're so happy. And you're telling everybody.
That's right.
Amen? So one of these is you. I don't know which one you picked. Amen? These are the ones that are not receiving. These are the ones who just can't wait to get another bite.
Amen.
Okay, so everybody got your books. I'm going to turn Lance on. And we're going to go through the final part. I don't know exactly. You got to read them when you go home, too. Okay?
I'd like to know this last one is. There's another one. Our journey now. Once I listened to the tapes, I knew what I was supposed to do. Because, like I said again, it's way before they even were going to do this. Way before.
Hello, Jess.
Like a month before they did this.
Clay.
Recalibrate your relationship.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Keep
What
doing
page
that.
are we on?
I'm so used to what I do.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Lance Walnut. Welcome back to one of the most important and powerful modules I think I've ever done when it comes to personal transformation. The ability to look at your own personal journey and be able to see the highs and lows.
Amen.
And what is really important is that you share your story with someone. When we do workshops, this is the most powerful module I do with our 2-day intensives, our masterminds and stuff. We break up into groups of 4, and everyone takes 15 minutes and a big chart, and they tell their story. And man, it's just like, you have to do this thing with someone else. I mean, you do it alone is one thing. Share it with someone else is important, and just ask somebody to do this program with you. It's the best way to do it, so that together you can share the information. Because the forces that control your life are the beliefs you attach to your experiences. And here's an interesting thought. Those 5 or 6 pieces, actually, of life's puzzle, it's the 5 pieces, and your present is affected by your past. These pieces that we've been working with all come together because in your personal history, you'll notice something that we haven't been able to fully talk about. And that is that when you are using the gifts and talents and abilities that God gave you, right? When you're using them, boom, you experience this level 10 fulfillment. And when you are using those gifts, talents, and abilities and getting results that are meaningful, and other people affirm you in what you're doing, when they're cheering for you, when they're touched, when they're ministered to, suddenly your heart is experiencing a level 10 passion alignment. If, for instance, you're using your gifts for communication and for problem solving, and your personality happens to be, as we'll find out later, like extroverted or enthusiastic, or we call high I or high D, results-oriented, that anytime your temperament and your giftings are being used in the place where you are getting results, you experience a micro-convergence, you experience fulfillment. And as we look at our timeline, what you're going to find is that your history has already shown you the path to convergence. That if you look at it, you'll see how your history, but you're also going to find, as we're going to look today, where the blocks are to that path. And the blocks are here in your past, the areas in your life that have formed clusters of beliefs and feelings that get in the way of you being able to show up 100% powerful and 100% in the moment. So the friend of mine was weak. My wife's family is a learning family, and that's one of the things that's fun about the business I'm in, is we have lifelong learners in our whole household. And the other night I was at dinner with Annabelle and her girlfriend KK and Amy, who is a facilitator of a workshop they went to. And she was explaining something. I'll do it for you right here with my hand. Or maybe I'll do it with this hand. Doesn't have a watch on. This area here is what you would call your neurological, like your spine, your whole nervous system. And your spine's connected to the brain stem right here. And the brain stem happens to connect with the limbic system. The limbic system is that fight or flight part of you. The part of you that motivates you to, move forward or run away. But the limbic system is very hard to track because it's folded over by the whole brain itself. And this part here is the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part, the logic part, the reflective part. And so what you have to do is you have to recognize that you want to be present to what's going on inside of you so that you can peel this back and examine whether right now you're moving towards what you want or you're moving away from what you want, whether fear or aggression is causing you to behave in a way that is not giving you the outcomes that wisdom has ordained. And to do that, you have to have self-awareness. And self-awareness is the prefrontal cortex, the ability to step outside yourself and observe what emotions are driving you, what behavior is coming from you, and whether or not it's working towards where you want to go. Powerful kind of analogy, isn't it? So in the matrix of what we're doing here, we have decided that we're going to take a look at where we've been in our past so we understand how to be showing up in the present, fully engaged, and observant of the path that the Lord is opening up to actualize our prophetic purpose, that nuclear thing that is convergence up there. And so we took a look at the role of how our history has shaped us. It's life experiences. Life experiences shape us. But our life experiences shape us because the way in which those experiences take place, I should really move this arrow a little bit more out there, is that we form beliefs based on our experiences. So this is like a ruthless cycle. And the problem is, however, if we can have the right teachers, if we can have the Word of God to think through and challenge and rewire ourselves, then we can form beliefs that will lead to better quality decisions. And better quality decisions will lead to a better quality harvest. A harvest in terms of relationships, a harvest in terms of business, a harvest in terms of spiritual results. And every harvest is attached to the quality of choices that are made. And those significant emotional events really do shape us. And so we saw that, and then we took a look at the history chart, which you've probably done by now, I assume. And that history graph is the picture of the positive events and negative events that happen along the continuum of a timeline. You can do this in just your careers, your life at work could be a model. Just do one on just work, your work history. And I was suggesting that, you do this as just a timeline from birth to where you are right now, because it helps to tell you what your global beliefs are, your beliefs about life, money, wisdom. And you start to think about, are my beliefs really reflecting what the Word of God says? Well, that it also gives us convergence patterns. And this is something which I want to focus on briefly now. And the convergence patterns have to do with the positive patterns that are taking place. The positive patterns are the patterns of what's working and what has worked. So let's take a look at this for a moment. Because your positive patterns here are the moments when you were doing what's working, And these are moments when in a sense you're forming a positive ID. I want to say something that I did in the video in Tahoe that I need to emphasize. I made some notes from the Tahoe video. And that is that anytime you have experienced a high point of convergence, or what we would call a mini convergence, it was a taste of your future self. You were getting a foretaste of what you're capable of and who you're capable of being. But what I want you to catch is this. Anything you've ever done, you could do again. Any home run you ever hit, any award you ever got, because the fact of the matter is, you're the one that did it. That means that somehow your experience was created by you showing up. And if you can understand what it was that you were doing in that moment and bottle it, you could actually drink it every day and recreate it. Have you ever had a moment when you're just flowing and things are just working well? You're having a conversation that's working perfectly. If you're in marketing, the sales thing is just going so great. If you're a speaker, the audience, everything's perfect. Anything you've ever done in a convergence experience at a level 10, you can recreate and do again because you're the one that created it the first time. You might say, well, it was really the Lord. It was the anointing. Great. The anointing that was on you then is there on you now. You can recreate it anytime you want. And that's an important distinction. The other thing that is vitally important is this reality here regarding your beliefs. And that is that your beliefs form your agreements. Your beliefs are the agreements that you're making with the universe around you. Your beliefs are the inner vows that you formed that authorize the spirit realm to go to work around you. So if your belief is that you can't trust anybody, you're empowering a demonic belief. You're empowering a spirit of betrayal. If your belief on the inside of you is that you'll never be able to be rich, or you're never going to be accepted, or you're always going to be alone, then that belief becomes a vow. That vow becomes an actual, almost like a frequency that authorizes the spirit realm to do something around you. I want you to think about this. It's not just a belief. It's like a frequency you're releasing that is attracting to you people, circumstances, and spirits that align with that belief. That's why it's important to shatter ungodly beliefs and replace them with God's beliefs. So we talked about recalibrating, and we did a whole 10-minute session there that I hope you caught on how to update every 3 to 5 years the key relationships in your life so that people know who you were now that you weren't then, and they get a chance to update their software. Because, we've all had it happen where familiarity, the Bible says, this familiarity leads to contempt. I think, I'm not sure it's in the Bible, but it does say a prophet is not without honor except in his own home or his own town. You know why? Because people don't upgrade. Remember the offense they had with Jesus? What was the offense they had with Jesus? Who does he think he is? Isn't this the carpenter's son? When did he start getting this kind of wisdom and ability? When did he start doing this? In other words, they knew him at one season, and they couldn't recalibrate. So Jesus had to go find new people. And you'll find that same thing happens. Now, let's take a look at the convergence patterns. I want to dig deep into what's happening in the positive, going the wrong direction. What happens in the belief systems? This is pretty important. And the reason this is important is because, let me go back to our illustration here. In terms of our timeline, your belief systems that you have, let's say you have a belief system that you are capable and gifted. If that's not a strong core belief, then it can be neutralized. Let me show you how this works. Suppose that you are, you're in a place where you actually want to be able to go to this new level of excellence in, let's say, you're looking for the job promotion. But in your history, you're afraid that if you stand out too much, you always end up getting cut down. What happens is you have what's called competing beliefs. Maybe a better way to do that is to look at it this way. And so I can give you competing beliefs. Go like this. Watch this. A competing belief system says that one part of you is saying that I want to get a raise. Another part of you, now watch this. Another part of you is saying that what if they tell you you're not good enough and that they don't need you? If the power of this emotion and belief is stronger than the power of your confidence in your own ability and your own value as a person, then what happens is, boom, these two things meet each other, and watch this. Bam, they neutralize your ability to show up in the moment. Because remember, this is going on, this is all like internal dialogue going on inside you. You've got both these conversations going on. And so when you show up, what kind of vibe are you putting forth? You're putting forth what we call mixed signals. You're half confident but not quite sure because you're afraid of rejection, and so you even approach the conversation a little awkwardly, and you're breaking eye contact. In other words, you're not showing up congruently as somebody that has favor and confidence and capacity. And it's this incongruence, this force field, and it happens many times to Christians. Because Christians have this belief that they want to prosper, but then sometimes they feel guilty when it comes to selling or asking for money. I run into this. So in network marketing, instead of like building a business and getting it, they're always giving product away and trying to help you because they feel as though they're not as nice a person when they're making money as when they're giving it away. So this competing commitment on the inside cancels out the congruence. So what am I saying? I'm saying the belief systems is where the action is. We have to go about changing those belief systems. So let's go back to our category of belief question. There are 3 levels of belief that you got. Level 1 is an opinion, and that's something that is easy to change with more information. Level 2 is something which is a repeated experience over time. So therefore it becomes a belief. And it's not easily changed. Level 3 is a core conviction. And that's almost unchangeable. It's a worldview. It's in your mind. You ever watch the news? I mean, this is the part that blows my mind. I can be watching CNN, Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, whoever these people are. I don't care what news comes out. They could find out that Donald Trump, is a saint, or Mike Pence has raised somebody from the dead. They'll right away find the negative spin on it. You know why? Because they're in a category 3 belief, a core conviction that everything that comes out of conservatives, Republicans, Christians, or that world is bad, and therefore they have to be the antagonist. They won't even applaud if it's good news. They'll think that it's a lie because their core conviction. This is the danger of the spirit in the last days, is that people become closed, so much so. And I'm even suspicious of people that are constantly being negative. I mean, I noticed this, like I'll be looking and I'll say, if somebody can only find negatives and never find anything positive, I mean, my gosh, Christians will pray. We're supposed to pray. Even if you don't like a president, you got to have enough confidence in your prayers that God is going to do something through them, because we're supposed to pray for rulers and those who are in authority that we may lead a godly and peaceful life. Paul can say that for the Christians that were under Nero or Diocletian or Caligula. Trust me, we could do it under modern presidential candidates. Don't you believe God can ever do something good through them?
Amen.
So everything is always negative. You got to be suspicious that you got a stronghold. You have to be objective about this. So let me show you how this works. We'll just draw it this way. So when I'm saying we go up here, we go down here, we go up here, we go down here. Let's talk about life like this. I'm saying that in the positive realm, you want to have strongholds of Zion. You want to have strongholds that are built up. Or this is actually I like the Japanese. This is the way gates have done in Japanese. It looks better to do it that way, huh? It's better as a gate. So you want to have strongholds that are not just an opinion. Remember the 3 levels. It's an opinion. Because if you just have an opinion that, you're worthy of being blessed and that God can bless you, what's going to happen if the devil gives you a real shot in the solar plexus? Kaboom! You know what you might do? You might lose that opinion can be blocked. So you want to go beyond an opinion, and a belief is the next level. So this is level 1, this is level 2, this is level 3. A belief is created by repeated experience. I am worthy to be blessed. I've seen the Lord bless me. I believe it because God has made my righteousness. That's a belief. But I'll tell you what, when you get to the level of having a core conviction, that's when you get to the place where at that level, you're going into identity. Your convictions are immovable. They are the way that you see the world. And that becomes part of your identity. So David wanted to make the Lord his stronghold. To the degree that you know that the Lord is for you and not against you. To the degree that you know that you are forgiven and not guilty. Those are core convictions. But now it can work in the other direction too. So let's take a look at this. Suppose that something happens over here. I'm just going to put a little negative experience over here. Now the enemy's very quickly, he's going to try to build this gateway also. And he's going to try to get you to the place where it is a core conviction that all men are evil, or all women are dangerous, or all whites are prejudiced, or all